In the vast, swirling cosmos, where myriad civilizations intertwined in an intricate tapestry of cultures and technologies, humanity was, quite frankly, the butt of the galaxy's endless jokes. With our relatively primitive technology and quaint, often perplexing social customs, humans were viewed as a blip on the cosmic radar, a species still in its galactic infancy. While the other advanced species had mastered interstellar travel, anti-gravity, and had even begun experimenting with the fabric of time, humans were still fussing over fossil fuels and social media platforms. The Galactic Council, an assembly representing hundreds of star systems and races, often dismissed the human ambassadors with a mix of condescension and bemusement. Our contributions to intergalactic dialogues were minimal, our insights seemingly shallow, but all of that changed with the incident at Zeta Prime. Zeta Prime was a border colony of the Grendalor Confederation, a powerful and highly militaristic race known for their blue-scaled skin and formidable psychic abilities. The incident began with what was supposed to be a routine diplomatic mission. Humanity, in its eternal quest to prove its worth, had sent an envoy to negotiate minor trade agreements. The negotiations, predictably, did not go as planned. Instead of the usual polite dismissal, a misunderstanding during the proceedings led to a heated exchange. Human ambassador Eliana Reed, a woman of sharp intellect and sharper tongue, inadvertently insulted the Grendalor warlord by refusing his traditional gesture of greeting, the clasping of claws, due to an ill-timed sneeze brought on by her allergy to their ceremonial incense. The insult was broadcast live across interstellar networks, and the laughter that echoed through the galaxy was both immediate and humiliating. However, the laughter soon faded when, instead of cowering or issuing a humbled apology as expected, humanity bristled at the mockery. Within weeks, the United Earth Government, a relatively new entity striving to present a unified front in interstellar affairs, issued a declaration that would send ripples across the galaxy. Humanity would not be demeaned. They demanded an official apology from the Grendalor Confederation, a request unheard of in the annals of galactic diplomacy, where minor races typically bowed to the whims of greater powers. The Grendalors, stunned by such audacity, responded not with words, but with warships. Their armada, a fleet that had subdued star systems, was dispatched to Earth, expecting an easy conquest. The galaxy watched, some with glee and others with apprehension, expecting a swift and brutal quashing of the human spirit. But Earth did not stand alone as expected. The incident had sparked something unprecedented: sympathy for humanity. The underdogs of the galaxy, many of whom had felt the heavy boot of Grendalor oppression, began to rally. Secret pacts formed, and old enemies whispered in dark corners. The galaxy was on the brink, not just of war, but of a reshuffling of its very structure. As the Grendalor fleet approached, a ragtag armada of human and alien ships assembled. Technologies were shared, strategies formed, and a new alliance was born, held together by the mutual desire to see the galaxy's bullies face a challenger. Humans, with their unpredictable creativity, quirky tactics, and indomitable spirit, were at the heart of this alliance. The first battle of what would be known as the Humorous War took place near the orbit of Mars. Earth's defenses were meager compared to the might of the Grendalor ships, but what they lacked in power, they compensated with ingenuity. Old satellites were retrofitted with explosives, commercial ships were armored with makeshift shields, and the Internet, Earth's sprawling digital network, became a weapon of misinformation and espionage. The battle was fierce and costly, but it ended with a victory that shocked the galaxy. The Grendalors, so sure of their superiority, found themselves outmaneuvered and outmatched. The news spread like wildfire, igniting hopes and fears across star systems. Humanity was no longer a joke. It was a force to be reckoned with, a wild card that had upset the cosmic deck. As the smoke cleared above Mars, the galactic narrative began to shift. Stories of human valor, resilience, and cunning began to circulate, replacing the old tales of folly and simplicity. Humans were still newcomers to the cosmic stage, but they were newcomers with a war to win and perhaps a point to prove. The galaxy had learned to laugh at humans, but now it was learning to respect them. The war, ignited by a sneeze and fueled by pride, was just beginning, and Earth, once the laughingstock of the galaxy, was now its battleground. The unexpected human victory at Mars had sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. News channels that had once filled their airtime with trivial human follies now dissected the tactical genius of Earth's makeshift fleet. This shift in perspective wasn't just a media sensation. It had profound diplomatic and strategic implications. In the aftermath of the Battle of Mars, the Galactic Council was in uproar. Long-standing members of the Council, particularly those who had maintained neutrality or even subtle support for the Grendalor Confederation, now faced a political quandary. The human spectacle of defiance and resilience was not something that could be easily dismissed. Every race within the Council was forced to reconsider their stance on humanity and the burgeoning war. At the forefront of this reevaluation was the Aquarian Collective, a species known for their immense wisdom and foresight. The Aquarians, with their translucent skin and fluid-like movements, had always been viewed as pacifists, seldom engaging in conflict or taking sides. However, the human defiance resonated with their core values of balance and justice. Behind closed doors, their leaders debated their course of action, ultimately deciding that supporting humanity could restore equilibrium to a galaxy that had tilted too far towards domination by a few. Meanwhile, Earth was becoming a hive of activity and preparation. The victory had bought humanity not just time, but allies. Technical exchanges were rapidly organized. Alien technologies, once guarded secrets, were shared at a previously unimaginable pace. Engineers from the Syrian planets, known for their advanced propulsion technologies, worked alongside human counterparts to retrofit Earth's spacecraft with faster-than-light engines. Biotechnologists from Eridani 3 provided medical advancements that bolstered the endurance and healing capabilities of human soldiers. As these alliances solidified, the strategic planning for the next phase of the war was underway. General Sarah Chen, appointed as the head of Earth's defense, emerged as a key figure. Her reputation for bold strategies and a calm demeanor under pressure made her the perfect candidate to lead the combined forces. With advisors from multiple species, her war room buzzed with languages and ideas, crafting plans that leveraged the unique strengths of each race. One of the most critical meetings took place on Vortex Station, a neutral trading hub orbiting the gas giant Helios Prime. It was here that representatives of the new allies convened in secrecy, away from prying eyes and ears. The meeting was precarious, each participant aware of the spies that might be lurking, but the urgency of their cause necessitated risk. The Vortex Summit, as it would later be known, was a whirlwind of negotiations and strategy sessions. The primary agenda was clear: to form an official coalition against the Grendalor Confederation, and to outline a series of military and diplomatic moves to strengthen their position. The summit concluded with the signing of the Helios Accord, a document that formalized the alliance and outlined mutual defense and technology sharing agreements. With the accord in place, the Allied forces wasted no time. Fleets were assembled at strategic locations, and joint training exercises began. The human element in these preparations was crucial. Earth's diplomats, once underestimated in the galaxy, now played key roles in maintaining the fragile unity of the alliance. Their ability to empathize and mediate between diverse races, once a subject of ridicule, had become one of their greatest strengths. As preparations surged forward, the Grendalor Confederation, recoiling from their loss at Mars, planned their counterattack. They had underestimated Earth once. They would not do so again. Their spies dispatched reports of the growing alliance, stoking the flames of urgency among their ranks. The war, which had started as a minor conflict sparked by a diplomatic insult, was evolving into a significant galactic confrontation. The stakes were higher than ever, and the outcome uncertain. But one thing was clear: the galaxy would never again underestimate the resolve and potential of humanity. Now a beacon of hope and defiance, Earth stood ready, not just to defend its place in the cosmos, but to redefine it. As the newly formed alliance prepared for the next confrontation, intelligence reports indicated a major tactical shift by the Grendalors. Rather than a direct assault on Earth, which had proven costly for them, the Grendalor war strategists set their sights on Lunaris, a critical moon base orbiting Jupiter. Lunaris was not only strategic for its position in the solar system, allowing control over the outer planets, but it also housed a series of advanced research facilities and shipyards crucial for the Alliance's war effort. The decision to defend Lunaris was unanimous among the Alliance leaders. General Sarah Chen spearheaded the defense preparations, integrating various alien technologies into the infrastructure of Lunaris. The moon's defenses were bolstered with Sirian energy shields, Eridanian sensor arrays, and Aquarian kinetic barriers, transforming it into a formidable fortified outpost. Meanwhile, on Earth, public sentiment towards the war had shifted dramatically. Initial fear and apprehension had given way to a surge of communal solidarity and pride. Propaganda campaigns effectively utilized the tales of human valor and alien friendship, painting the war not just as a battle for survival, but as a noble crusade for justice and equality in the galaxy. Volunteers lined up in droves at recruitment centers, eager to defend their home and their newfound allies. As the Grendalor fleet approached Lunaris, they encountered a resistance fiercer than any they had anticipated. The siege of Lunaris would be remembered as one of the most intense battles of the war. The Grendalors, known for their psychic warfare, launched mental assaults that would have crippled a less prepared enemy. However, the diverse makeup of the defending forces provided an unexpected resilience. The mental attacks that debilitated one species were ineffective against another, showcasing the strength in the Alliance's diversity. Admiral Yathir of the Syrians led the space combat operations. His tactics were unorthodox by human standards, but brilliantly effective. Using decoys and rapid, unpredictable maneuvers, Yathir's fleet was able to disrupt the Grendalor formations, creating openings for human pilots to exploit. The dogfights between the sleek Grendalor cruisers and the newly upgraded human fighters were brutal and breathtaking, with both sides suffering significant losses. On the surface of Lunaris, the battle was just as fierce. The ground forces, a mix of human marines and alien warriors, held the line against Grendalor ground assaults. Every inch of the lunar soil was contested fiercely, with the defenders using the moon's craggy landscape to their advantage. Snipers were positioned in low-gravity perches, and mobile squads used the uneven terrain to stage ambushes. In one notable engagement, a platoon of human soldiers, aided by a small squad of Aquarian combat medics, held a critical research facility against a vastly superior Grendalor force. The humans' tenacity and the Aquarians' healing abilities turned what seemed like a certain defeat into a stalemate, buying enough time for reinforcements to arrive. Throughout the siege, communication lines between Lunaris and Earth were kept open. Reports of the battle's progress were broadcast live, ensuring that the people of Earth and their allies remained informed and engaged. The psychological impact of this transparency was profound, boosting morale across the Allied territories and solidifying support for the war effort. After days of relentless conflict, the Grendalor forces, unable to breach the final defenses, began to retreat. The siege of Lunaris ended in a decisive victory for the Alliance. This battle not only served as a crucial tactical win, but also symbolized the potential and power of unified diversity against a common enemy. As the dust settled on Lunaris, the Alliance celebrated, but there was no illusion about the war's inevitable escalation. The victory had bought them time and respect, but it had also guaranteed a fierce retaliation from the Grendalor Confederation. Prepared for a long conflict, the Allied forces began planning their next moves, knowing that each battle forged the future of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. The victory at Lunaris had given the Alliance not just a tactical advantage, but a morale boost that echoed through the ranks of every species involved. However, the war was far from over. The Grendalor Confederation, stung by their defeat, retreated only to regroup and plan their next move. As the Alliance celebrated their victory, the leaders were aware that the war would escalate, requiring not just brute force but also intelligence and cunning. General Sarah Chen, now seen as a hero across multiple star systems, convened a secret meeting aboard the flagship Arcadia, stationed in the Kuiper Belt. This region of space, with its myriad of icy bodies and remote outposts, provided the perfect cover for a meeting of this magnitude. Representatives from all the allied races gathered to discuss the formation of a covert network that would infiltrate enemy lines and gather crucial intelligence. This network would be known as the Shadow Network. The creation of the Shadow Network was a bold strategy, leveraging the unique skills and technologies of the Alliance. The Syrians, with their advanced electronic warfare capabilities, were tasked with intercepting and decoding Grendalor communications. The Aquarians, who possessed an almost preternatural sense of intuition, would operate as field agents, able to sense traps and betrayals before they occurred. Human agents, adaptable and unpredictable, would perform undercover operations within Grendalor-occupied territories. One of the most critical figures in the Shadow Network was Captain Mira Rajani, a human intelligence officer with a background in cyber espionage. Captain Rajani was known for her exceptional ability to blend into alien cultures, a skill honed through years of diplomatic assignments. She was assigned the task of infiltrating the highest ranks of the Grendalor military, a mission fraught with danger but crucial for the success of the Alliance. As Captain Rajani prepared for her mission, the Alliance worked tirelessly to fortify their positions across the solar system. The shipyards of Mars were now operating at full capacity, churning out a fleet of mixed-technology starships. These new vessels combined human designs with alien technologies, creating a fleet that was versatile and formidable. Training programs, too, were adjusted to accommodate the varied physiologies and combat styles of the Alliance forces, fostering a sense of unity and brotherhood among the troops. Meanwhile, the Grendalors were not idle. Their spies had infiltrated some of the lesser-guarded outposts of the Alliance, gathering their own intelligence. The war was evolving into a shadowy game of chess, with each side maneuvering spies and agents across a board that spanned star systems. The Shadow Network soon proved its worth. Captain Rajani, using a false identity, managed to secure a position within the Grendalor Strategic Command. From there, she relayed critical information back to the Alliance, information that would preempt several large-scale attacks planned by the Grendalors. Her reports revealed not just military plans, but also cracks within the Grendalor hierarchy, tensions that the Alliance could exploit. Back on Earth, the war was becoming a part of daily life. Schools taught courses on alien cultures and languages, promoting understanding and cooperation. Propaganda posters depicted humans and aliens standing side by side, united against a common foe. The populace, once fearful of extraterrestrial contact, now embraced their role in the galactic community. As the Alliance continued to strengthen its position, both through military might and covert operations, the Grendalors began to realize that conquering humanity would not be as easy as they had presumed. Each failed plan and foiled attack chipped away at their resolve, while the Alliance, buoyed by each success, grew only stronger and more cohesive. The Shadow Network had changed the nature of the war, turning it into a conflict fought not only in the vast void of space, but in the hidden corners of galaxies and the encrypted depths of data streams. It was a modern war, a digital war, a war that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but of the galaxy itself. The Alliance's next strategic target was the Cygnus Nebula, a region known for its dense gas clouds and brilliant celestial formations. It was also a key logistical hub for the Grendalor Confederation, serving as a staging ground for their fleet and a repository for their war resources. The control of the Cygnus Nebula would severely cripple the Grendalor's supply lines and give the Alliance a significant upper hand. As such, the battle for the nebula was anticipated to be one of the pivotal clashes of the war. General Sarah Chen, with the intelligence provided by the Shadow Network, devised a plan that was audacious in its scope and ingenious in its execution. The plan involved a two-pronged attack: a direct assault led by the Alliance's most capable fleet commanders to engage the Grendalor forces, and a covert operation aimed at sabotaging the Grendalor supply depots within the nebula. Commander Akila Mbenga, a veteran pilot from the Syrian fleet, was chosen to lead the direct assault. Known for her aggressive tactics and unrivaled piloting skills, Commander Mbenga had become something of a legend among the Alliance troops. Her fleet, a mixture of human and alien crafts, was specially outfitted for the unique conditions of the nebula, with enhanced sensors and shielding systems to navigate the dense gas clouds. Simultaneously, a covert team, including Captain Mira Rajani and a select group of Aquarian and Eridanian specialists, infiltrated the nebula. Their mission was to plant a series of explosive devices in the Grendalor supply depots, timed to detonate simultaneously with the fleet's assault. The operation was fraught with risk, as the nebula's unpredictable gas currents could expose them at any moment. As the battle commenced, the Alliance fleet, under Commander Mbenga's lead, clashed with the Grendalor defenders in a spectacular display of firepower and strategy. The nebula's swirling gases lit up with the explosions of starships and the continuous fire of energy weapons. Commander Mbenga, piloting her custom-fitted fighter, darted through the chaos, targeting key Grendalor ships and coordinating her forces with precision. Meanwhile, Captain Rajani and her team navigated the treacherous interior of the nebula. Using stealth suits that mimicked the nebula's electromagnetic signature, they moved undetected towards the Grendalor depots. Each member of the team knew that the slightest mistake could not only jeopardize the mission, but also cost them their lives. Back on Earth and across the Allied worlds, the battle was followed with bated breath through live feeds and updates. For many, the outcome of this battle would symbolize the turning point of the war, a beacon of hope that the end might be within reach. After hours of intense fighting and nerve-wracking stealth operations, the coordinated strike was executed. The supply depots erupted in a chain of explosions, sending shockwaves throughout the nebula and disrupting the Grendalor fleet's operations. With their supply lines compromised and chaos among their ranks, the Grendalor forces began to falter. Seizing the moment, Commander Mbenga led a final push, driving deep into the heart of the Grendalor formation. The battle raged on, but the momentum had shifted unmistakably in favor of the Alliance. By the time the Grendalor forces began their retreat, the victory was clearly with the Alliance. The successful conquest of the Cygnus Nebula marked a crucial victory. It not only disrupted the Grendalor's war efforts, but also demonstrated the effectiveness of combined human and alien strategy and courage. As the Alliance celebrated this triumph, they also prepared for the next phase of the war, knowing that each victory brought them closer to peace, but also deeper into the complexities of interstellar politics and power. With the nebula now under their control, the Alliance had not only a strategic advantage, but also a new resolve to see the war to its end, ensuring that the galaxy would no longer underestimate the strength and unity of diverse beings fighting for a common cause. Following the triumph in the Cygnus Nebula, the Alliance's strategic position was stronger than ever, but the war was far from a straightforward path to peace. The victory had significant ramifications that rippled through the Galactic Council and among various unaligned systems. The Grendalor Confederation, reeling from their losses, was now perceived as vulnerable, a notion that sparked interest and opportunism across the galaxy. In the wake of these events, General Sarah Chen convened a summit aboard the Arcadia, now positioned in a secure location near the edge of Allied-controlled space. The summit aimed to solidify the Alliance's future strategy and address the growing interest from other star systems that had previously remained neutral or even subtly supported the Grendalor Confederation. Among the new participants were representatives from the Viridian Star Cluster, a collective of systems known for their advanced artificial intelligence technologies, but notorious for their strict neutrality in galactic conflicts. The Viridians had observed the Alliance's success and now saw a strategic advantage in aligning with them, offering their AI expertise in exchange for security guarantees against Grendalor retaliation. As diplomatic discussions unfolded, another front of the war was expanding in the realm of public opinion and propaganda. The stories of human tenacity and the diverse heroics of Alliance members were being broadcast widely, not just within Allied territories, but also into regions under Grendalor influence. The narrative crafted by the Alliance's media strategists was potent, depicting the war as a struggle for freedom against oppression, resonating deeply with populations tired of Grendalor control. Simultaneously, the Shadow Network, led by Captain Mira Rajani, intensified its operations. With the Grendalor's weakened state, more opportunities arose to infiltrate and gather critical intelligence. The network managed to install surveillance devices in key Grendalor installations, and for the first time, Significant numbers of Grendalore citizens and even some military personnel began to covertly communicate with the Alliance, expressing dissent and fatigue with their leader's relentless war agenda. However, the Alliance faced internal challenges as well. The diverse nature of its membership, while a strength on the battlefield, also brought complex diplomatic challenges. Differing cultural values, political goals, and long-term aspirations led to tensions that required delicate handling. General Chen, along with a council of representatives, worked tirelessly to mediate these conflicts, striving to maintain unity within the ranks. The strategic focus then shifted to the Xanthar Gate, a critical junction point for hyperspace travel that the Grendalores used to supply their outer colonies. Capturing the Xanthar Gate would sever these critical lines and isolate the Grendalores' outer territories, potentially forcing them into a defensive stance. The Alliance assembled a task force, led by Commander Akila Mbenga and enhanced by Viridian AI technology, to execute this bold maneuver. The battle for the Xanthar Gate was intense. The Grendalores, aware of the strategic importance of the junction, had fortified it heavily. The Alliance forces faced a formidable array of defense platforms and a fleet bolstered by mercenaries. However, the enhanced strategies, driven by Viridian AI predictions, and the resilient determination of the Alliance forces, slowly turned the tide. After several days of fierce fighting and substantial losses on both sides, the Alliance claimed victory, securing the gate and further tightening the noose around the Grendalores' strategic assets. With each victory, the Alliance grew not only in confidence but also in size. More systems, inspired by the successes and the promise of a new order in the galaxy, began to align themselves with General Chen and her coalition. The echoes of their victories were shaping a new galactic landscape, one where unity and cooperation stood against tyranny and oppression. As the Alliance looked toward the future, the path ahead was still fraught with challenges. But the growing unity and strategic successes painted a hopeful picture of what could be achieved in this new era of galactic alignment. The war was evolving, not just in battles won but in hearts and minds changed, paving the way toward a peace that would be shaped by the very diversity that had once been underestimated. In the evolving landscape of galactic warfare, the victory at Xanthar Gate had marked a significant turning point for the Alliance. However, with the Grendalores on the defensive and increasingly isolated, they turned to more desperate and covert measures. The Shadow War, once dominated by the Alliance's Shadow Network, now saw an increasing presence of Grendalore operatives engaging in sabotage and espionage. As the Grendalore Confederation's tactics shifted, so did the Alliance's approach to the ongoing conflict. The Viridian Star Cluster, with their advanced AI capabilities, became central in countering these new threats. AI-driven security systems and counter-espionage protocols were implemented across key Alliance installations, while AI analysts worked to predict and thwart Grendalore sabotage attempts before they could be executed. Amidst this backdrop of heightened security and strategic countermeasures, Captain Mira Rajani found herself in the depths of undercover operations deeper than ever before. Having infiltrated the highest echelons of the Grendalore military command, she now operated under constant threat of exposure. Each piece of intelligence she sent back not only informed the Alliance's strategic moves, but also put her life at greater risk. Parallel to the covert operations, diplomatic efforts to strengthen and expand the Alliance took on a new urgency. General Sarah Chen, recognizing the need for a broader coalition, initiated talks with several minor species and independent colonies that had remained neutral or non-committal in the conflict. These diplomatic missions, often fraught with cultural misunderstandings and political complexities, were critical in forging a broader base of support against the Grendalores. One such mission, led by Ambassador Liu Shun, took him to the Thalaxian domains, where the inhabitants were known for their neutrality and their invaluable repositories of ancient galactic knowledge. Convincing the Thalaxians to join the Alliance posed a unique set of challenges, as their society valued historical preservation over political engagement. The negotiations were delicate, requiring a deep understanding of Thalaxian culture and a persuasive argument that their historical heritage could only be preserved if the Grendalores were prevented from expanding their authoritarian control. Back on the front lines, The newly secured Xanthar Gate became the staging ground for a series of counter-offensive operations. Commander Akila Mbenga, now a celebrated tactical genius within the Alliance ranks, led these missions. Her fleet, augmented with the latest mixed technology enhancements, targeted critical supply lines and communications nodes, further weakening the Grendalor's ability to coordinate their forces. Meanwhile, on Earth and other human colonies, public support for the war effort reached new heights. Media outlets, operating under the supervision of Alliance propaganda experts, continuously highlighted the heroics of the Alliance forces and the solidarity among the diverse member species. These stories not only bolstered morale, but also helped cement a sense of common identity and purpose across the Alliance. However, the war was not without its costs. Casualties mounted, and the realities of war touched every corner of Allied territories. Hospitals were overwhelmed, and resources were stretched thin. The burden of conflict weighed heavily on the populations, and leaders like General Chen faced the difficult task of maintaining public support while managing the grim realities of a prolonged conflict. As alliances were tested by the shadows of war, the galaxy watched and waited. With every move on the chessboard of galactic conflict, the future of interstellar relations and power dynamics was being rewritten. The Alliance, once seen as a fleeting response to aggression, was becoming a formidable entity, potentially shaping a new era of galactic unity and peace. Each decision, each alliance forged, and each battle fought not only determined the outcome of the war, but also the future of the galaxy. As the war against the Grendalor Confederation raged on, the Alliance found itself at a critical juncture. With each victory, the Grendalors grew more desperate, resorting to increasingly drastic measures to maintain their grip on power. In response, the Alliance had to adapt, not only militarily but also politically and socially, to navigate the ever-changing currents of conflict. One of the most pressing challenges faced by the Alliance was the growing humanitarian crisis in Grendalor-controlled territories. Reports from covert operatives and sympathetic informants revealed the extent of suffering among civilian populations subjected to Grendalor oppression. General Sarah Chen, recognizing the moral imperative to aid these innocents, spearheaded a series of relief efforts, coordinating with allied systems to deliver aid and support to those in need. The humanitarian crisis also presented an opportunity for diplomatic outreach. Ambassador Liu Xun, fresh from his successful negotiations with the Thalaxians, embarked on a diplomatic tour of Grendalor-controlled worlds. His mission was twofold: to provide humanitarian assistance to the oppressed populations and to sow seeds of dissent among the Grendalor citizens, offering them an alternative vision of a galaxy free from tyranny. Meanwhile, the Shadow Network, under the continued leadership of Captain Mira Rajani, intensified its efforts to destabilize the Grendalor regime from within. Covert operations targeted key infrastructure and propaganda networks, seeking to undermine the Grendalor leadership's ability to maintain control over their territories. These efforts were bolstered by growing dissent among Grendalor citizens, fueled by Ambassador Liu's diplomatic overtures and the Alliance's humanitarian aid. On the military front, Commander Akila Mbenga led a series of lightning raids against Grendalor supply lines and outposts, exploiting the chaos caused by the Alliance's covert operations. These raids not only disrupted Grendalor logistics, but also forced their forces into a defensive posture, further eroding their ability to mount offensive operations against the Alliance. However, the Grendalors were not without their own tricks. Reports surfaced of clandestine alliances with rogue factions and mercenaries, as well as rumors of experimental weapons being developed in secret research facilities. The Alliance's intelligence apparatus worked tirelessly to uncover these threats, but the shadows of war obscured much of the truth, leaving them constantly on edge. As the conflict dragged on, strains began to emerge within the Alliance itself. Differing priorities and cultural divides threatened to fracture the unity that had been forged in the crucible of war. General Chen and her council of advisors worked tirelessly to bridge these divides, emphasizing the common goal of defeating the Grendalor Confederation and restoring peace to the galaxy. Yet amidst the turmoil and uncertainty, there were glimmers of hope, stories of bravery and resilience, of alliances forged and sacrifices made, spread throughout the galaxy, inspiring countless beings to stand against tyranny and oppression. The war had become more than a struggle for territory or resources. It had become a battle for the very soul of the galaxy. As the Alliance prepared for the next phase of the conflict, they knew that the road ahead would be fraught with peril and uncertainty. But they also knew that as long as they stood united, they had the strength to face whatever challenges the future might bring. The tides of change were sweeping through the galaxy, and the Alliance stood at the forefront, determined to shape a new era of peace and prosperity for all. As the conflict between the Alliance and the Grendalor Confederation entered its most critical phase, the galaxy held its collective breath, awaiting the outcome of the titanic struggle. The tides of war had ebbed and flowed, leaving in their wake a landscape scarred by battles and marked by the resilience of those who dared to defy tyranny. In the heart of the galactic core lay the Nexus of Fate, an enigmatic region of space shrouded in mystery and rumor. It was said that the Nexus held the key to unlocking untold power and knowledge, capable of reshaping the very fabric of reality itself. Both the Alliance and the Grendalors, recognizing the Nexus's potential significance, set their sights on claiming it for their own. General Sarah Chen, understanding the importance of securing the Nexus, assembled a coalition of the Alliance's most elite forces for a daring mission into the heart of the galactic core. Led by Commander Akila Mbenga and supported by Viridian AI intelligence, the coalition embarked on a perilous journey through uncharted territories and navigational hazards. The journey to the Nexus was fraught with danger as the coalition encountered gravitational anomalies, spatial distortions, and hostile entities that seemed to defy conventional understanding. Yet they pressed on, driven by the conviction that the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Meanwhile, the Grendalors, aware of the Alliance's intentions, launched their own expedition to the Nexus, led by their most formidable commanders and bolstered by ancient technologies of unknown origin. Their fleet, a menacing presence in the void of space, raced to reach the Nexus before their adversaries, determined to seize its power for their own nefarious ends. As the two expeditions approached the Nexus, they were met with a sight that defied comprehension. The Nexus itself seemed to pulse with energy, casting an ethereal glow that bathed the surrounding space in an otherworldly light. It was a sight that filled the hearts of all who beheld it with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The ensuing battle for control of the Nexus was unlike any that had come before. Both sides unleashed their most advanced weaponry and tactics, seeking to gain the upper hand in the struggle for dominance. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp and bend in response to the titanic forces unleashed in the conflict. In the midst of the chaos, Commander Mbenga and her coalition fought with a determination born of desperation. Against overwhelming odds, they pressed forward, their resolve unwavering in the face of impossible challenges. Each member of the coalition, human and alien alike, fought with a unity of purpose that transcended individual differences and forged bonds of camaraderie that would endure beyond the battlefield. As the battle raged on, it became increasingly clear that the Nexus held secrets that were beyond the comprehension of mortal beings. Its power was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, capable of shaping the destiny of entire civilizations with but a thought. In the end, the outcome of the battle for the Nexus remained uncertain. The forces of the Alliance and the Grendalor Confederation clashed in a cataclysmic struggle that echoed throughout the galaxy, leaving in its wake a legacy of heroism and sacrifice that would be remembered for generations to come. And amidst the chaos and uncertainty, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, waiting to be decided by the outcome of the battle for the Nexus of Fate. As the battle for the Nexus of Fate raged on, the galaxy held its breath, its very fate hanging in the balance. Across star systems, beings of all species watched with bated breath, their hopes and fears intertwined as they awaited the outcome of the titanic struggle. In the heart of the Nexus, amidst the swirling energies of the cosmic maelstrom, Commander Akila Mbenga and her coalition fought with an unyielding determination. Against the overwhelming power of the Nexus and the relentless onslaught of the Grendalor forces, they stood resolute, their spirits undimmed by the chaos that surrounded them. The battle itself defied description, a cosmic clash of titans that transcended mortal comprehension. Beams of energy lanced through the void. Ships of unimaginable size and power clashed in a ballet of destruction, and the very fabric of reality itself seemed to warp and twist in response to the forces unleashed. Amidst the chaos, a moment of clarity emerged. As Commander Mbenga and her coalition fought to hold their ground, a voice echoed through the depths of the Nexus, a voice that spoke of unity and harmony, of a future where beings of all species could coexist in peace and prosperity. It was a voice that resonated with the ideals of the Alliance, a beacon of hope in the darkness of conflict. Inspired by its words, Commander Mbenga and her coalition fought with renewed vigor, their resolve strengthened by the knowledge that they fought not just for victory, but for a future where the galaxy could be united in common purpose. As the battle reached its climax, a moment of clarity emerged. In a flash of blinding light, the Nexus itself seemed to awaken, its energies coalescing into a brilliant beacon that illuminated the void of space. And then, in an instant, the battle was over. In the aftermath of the conflict, as the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded into silence, a new era dawned for the galaxy. The Nexus of Fate, once a source of conflict and strife, now stood as a symbol of hope and renewal, a testament to the power of unity and cooperation in the face of adversity. Across the galaxy, beings of all species came together to rebuild and forge a new future, one where the lessons of the past were not forgotten, but used to pave the way for a brighter tomorrow. The Alliance, now strengthened by the trials of war, stood as a beacon of hope in a galaxy still scarred by conflict. And as the stars shone brightly in the vast expanse of space, casting their light upon a universe reborn, the echoes of the past faded into memory, replaced by the promise of a future where the bonds of friendship and cooperation would endure forevermore.